Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing you the developments shaping markets, capital access, and business decision-making across Jamaica and the region. Let's get into the stories that matter. The Bank of Jamaica has held its benchmark interest rate at 5.5% per annum. The central bank says it will continue special measures to support stability in the foreign exchange market, including the direct supply of foreign currency to selected operators in the energy sector. However, the bank is warning that the ongoing conflict in the Middle East could negatively affect its economic growth projection of between 1% and 3% for the next fiscal year. It also says the war is likely to push inflation above earlier forecasts due to rising crude oil and commodity prices. Despite this, the BOJ notes that weaker consumer demand, driven by reduced purchasing power, could help offset some of the upward pressure on prices. Jamaica's unemployment rate edged down to 3.6% in January 2026 from 3.7% a year earlier, according to the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin. Statin reports the number of unemployed persons fell to 51,500, even as overall employment declined. About 1.38 million people were employed, down from just over 30,000 compared with January 2025. The labor force also shrank to 1.44 million as participation by both men and women dropped. The overall participation rate fell to 66.8% from 68.4%. Youth unemployment declined by more than 11%, though youth unemployment improved to 10.7%. Meanwhile, the number of persons outside the labor force increased to 714,800, up by nearly 33,000 persons. Statin noted that an abbreviated survey in some western parishes limited certain indicators for the period. For the trading period of March 31, 2026, the most actively traded securities were Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 19,181,188 units, representing 29.22% of market sales activities. Wigton Energy Limited with 12,497,945 units, representing 19.04% of market sales activities. Supreme Ventures Limited with 6,059,999 units, representing 9.23% of market sales activities. Investor activity remained concentrated in energy, gaming, and transportation plays, signaling continued interest in dividend-producing and strategic assets. Turning to the foreign exchange market based on Bank of Jamaica data for March 31, 2026. Forex traders recorded significant activity with strong demand across major currencies. For the US dollar, trading margins reflected steady liquidity in the US, selling at $156.76 and buying at $158.58. For the Canadian dollar, moderate gains supported by $5.04 transaction spreads. The Canadian dollar sold for $111.14 and was bought for $116.18. For the British pound, continued volatility offered short-term trading opportunities of $2.99 in profits for the banks. The British pound sold for $207.01 and was bought for $210. These movements underscore the importance of cash flow timing, currency awareness for businesses managing import costs, debt servicing, or overseas exposure. Ignoring your credit report while building a debt portfolio doesn't create immediate problems. It creates delayed ones that compound across 20s, 30s, 40s, and then you hit your 50s. So let's start at the beginning. In your 20s, the foundation years are what most people underestimate. In early adulthood, many fail to recognize that even with limited income, they are actively shaping the strength of their future credit asset. This stage is often dismissed as a time of financial limitation, but it is actually the most powerful period for building a strong credit profile. Small, consistent actions like on-time payments, low utilization, and disciplined account management create a foundation that compounds over time. What feels insignificant early in your 20s becomes decisive later in your 50s. In our Funded and Focused feature, advancing your business through bank funding depends on demonstrating repayment capacity. Beyond the idea and the plan, your banker is focused on one core question: how will this loan be repaid? This is where cash flow projections, existing debt obligations, and historical performance come into play. Strong entrepreneurs walk in knowing their debt service ratios, margins, and financial trends. Weak applications rely on optimism instead of evidence. The difference is simple. Bankers fund performance, not potential. And that's today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, bringing clarity to capital markets and strategy. Until next time, stay informed, stay intentional, and keep building forward. See you soon.